Oh, hey YouTube. So if you keep up with my channel, you heard me doing a video a minute ago about the idle on that previous project. But while I was doing that, a guy walked up and was like, hey man, can you help me? And this is what he has, his issue. See that? That's the lower ball joint right there. Now this is a 99 Mercury Grand Marquis. And I've often said to people that have these cars, if you have this car, you want to get the lower ball joint and upper ball joint serviced before they break. Because if they break, it's going to leave you stranded somewhere out on the road when, you know, you could do some preventive maintenance here and, you know, avoid this type of issue. So, let's look in here and see what has to happen. You see that right there? That ball is completely out of the cup. I asked the customer, I said, now, was it squeaking and making a lot of noise before this happened? And he was like, yeah, it sure was. It was real squeaky and creaky. Uh-huh. Well, that was the sign. That's the warning sign. So if you have one of these vehicles, and it's making a screeching sound, and you don't have the type of ball joints where you can lubricate those, add the grease into it, go ahead and get them changed out, because you don't want to end up like this poor guy here. So now, or you could tow this vehicle, pick it up on tow this vehicle. You don't have to put it on a flatbed because it's all because the front is busted out here, but and it's a rear-wheel drive car. So this particular one is going to need a flatbed tow truck, which is going to be an added cost when it comes to towing, as opposed to if it was just able to be picked up by a regular wrecker. So again, if you have this particular car, Crown Vic, any of those heavier cars, Crown Vic, Mercury Grand Marquis, go ahead, and it's squeaking and squealing, go ahead and get that changed. I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna show you the parts that I'm gonna show you some old parts that came off the previous job I did of one. Alright, so here's those parts. Remember that project there I was working on? Yeah, didn't get a chance to finish. Well, I did finish it. It's finished. Yeah. Anyway, didn't get to finish talking what I was talking about, but either way, on the more important things. But this is the part that I was talking about, okay? These are the lower ball joints here, and this is basically like a ball. It's like a ball socket in your arm or in your leg, okay? There's a ball down there, and there's a cup here. And what happens is over time that cup stretches out, and as it stretches out, between the cup stretching out and the ball wearing out, okay, the ball will wear down and there's no lubricant in there, and this thing breaks loose. And as you can see what happened on that car, it's the exact same thing. This is the top, this is the lower ball joint here, and here's the upper ball joint here. All right, and you see that ball in there, the same thing can happen. Okay, of course, you see all that clay in there? Yeah. Now this one, that could have been prevented. See that little grease fitting right there? Yeah, all you gotta do is whenever you get your oil changed, you know, back in the day you used to always do that on cars, but now, you know, they're making these newer cars where most of the joints are non-serviceable. But if you have the grease fitting, then you can just click, 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 lube your fittings, and then, you know, you're not gonna wear this out. But same thing for this one. I think the new aftermarket one that we use, it actually has a grease fitting in the bottom so that it can be lubricated, and that will help prolong the life of the part, which will keep you from being broke down on the road. So we're gonna wait for the part to get here, and I've already done a video on how to change the lower ball joints on this particular car. There's a couple of them on my channel. I might film it one more time just so you can see the ease of it, but just wanted to give you that warning about this particular part on this particular car. I think I will show you a little bit of the actual procedure of fixing it. Okay, so I went ahead and decided to go ahead and knock this out right here where it's set. And I forgot that I was filming this thing. I got kind of tied up. Been a busy day for me. A little worn out, a little tired, to tell you the truth. But anyway, we'll get back to what we were talking about here. So you remember earlier this car had the lower ball joint to brake. I've got the two pieces out here. That's the ball. Okay. That's the cup that it came out of. So we can see these two pieces here. You can see how that breaks apart as I was stating. Here's the new one. Look at that. Now, doesn't that look good? Now this has to be pressed back into this hole. Be pressed up like so. Alright, and there's the press. Now sometimes when you go to press these in, you'll notice that the rubber boot, this one is actually made pretty nice because the rubber boot isn't kind of too overly over the edge. But if you get a lot of that rubber boot over the edge, what will happen is it'll tear that going in. So what you want to do, if you get one of that type, you see the cheaper one, I got the expensive one here. It's well worth the money to get the expensive one. Anyway, what you want to do is pull that boot up like so, and once you pull it up, that'll pull it thinner and it'll slide through the hole. Okay, so this has to be pressed in. There's your ball joint press right there. To get it loose, so that I would have more, be able to get this out of my way, this hub out of my way. I didn't feel like taking all this loose this time, since I'm out on the road fixing this one. I went ahead and pulled the tie rod in loose, which gives freedom to this hub here. We'll move that out the way. Once you move it out the way, you can see there's some other components that need to be changed as well, but they're still connected. So once you move that out the way, you have a nice clear access there to get to that ball joint. Now we'll use the press and press that back in. Now one other thing, in case you're wondering how I got it out, there's two different ways you can get it out. You can use that press to take it out, or if you've got a big hammer, my big frame right there, I take that and give it a good tap, and it fell right out. Okay, so that's in that hole right there. So of course it was pressed in there, pressed up in there. So when you take the hammer, take it, and you just tap it. Well, you got to hit it pretty hard. You might have to hit it 3 or 4 times. So you know, the bigger the hammer, the easier it is. But you hit it and you can knock that out. That's the fast way. Now the same way with this ball, it was disconnected, so we had to get that out of there. Now you take a hammer and hit it right there on the sweet spot a couple times, and that ball will drop right out of there. If you don't hit it, if you can't hit it, seem to get it, they do make a tool, a fork, and you stick that fork in there and tap it in there, and that'll actually pry that ball down. But if this ball is worn out, then that makes it harder with that fork. Fast way is that. Now, I have seen guys when they go to put this thing back in, they'll take a hammer and beat it back in. Yeah, don't do that because you can mess around and damage the part. It's easier just to go out, either rent you a press or buy a press, you know, but do it the right way. So here's how that works. You put that there, okay? And then you have a top piece that will go there, like so. All right, and then we'll take the bottom piece and put under there. I'm not gonna be able to set this up while filming. All right, so since we're going in, we'll have it like this. We'll have this flat piece that presses up. Okay, see how that, see that you get the picture of it? Right. Now since I'm doing it on the ground, it's going to be a little bit harder, but I did bring me a breaker bar. And the key to doing it on the ground, you know, as opposed to when I'm in the shop, you know, of course I have all the toolage I need to really get it done faster, but out here on the ground I can get it done. Just have to make sure, the key to it is making sure the car is high enough in the air to do it. Okay? Now I have seen guys that will actually try to take like a pipe, and they'll put a pipe under here, and they'll beat on the control arm until it, you know, while it sinks down on there. But that, you don't want to do it that way. Because you could damage your control arm, you can damage that hole. Then you're going to have to buy the whole control arm. That whole control arm is about $200. Not to mention it's a pain in the ass trying to deal with this spring and that shock and trying to get it all together. Yeah, okay? So avoid that if you can. Instead of paying the $200 for the lower control arm, you can just pay about $40 for the ball joint, get it pressed in, and you'll be done. All right, there's a better view of that. Okay, there's my breaker bar. We get that breaker bar on there, and we'll turn that and get that ball joint pressed back up in there. Give me just a second to do that, and I'll show you what it looks like, the finished product. But as you can see, like I said, the key to it is having it high enough so that you can get your tool down there so that you can turn that. Now I can also use a wrench too. Okay, so now we got that set up, getting a little late and I'm not ready to get through with this. Alright, so we got that all set up, and as you can see, up in there, this will press in. Alright, got it. Pressed in there good. See that? Presses all the way up to the lip. See that right there? There you go, that's what you want. And then all you have to do is take it loose. Okay. Pull that loose. There. That loose. There. Now you can see you got your new ball joint installed. Now it's just a matter of turning around and putting the rest of your stuff down. Now, since we have the car jacked up in the jack, we're just going to use the jack to jack this up into the hole. After we get that up into the hole, we'll put our top nut on. This job will be finished. Alright? But again, the importance of it, if you have one of these cars and it's making this type of squeaky noise, then you definitely want to get that fixed because you don't want to be broke down on the side of the road. And you know, just like Murphy's Law, it happens. You know what I mean? This is, you can see where I am. I'm on the side of a store and broke down for this guy. So, you know, we could tow it, but right now my tow truck's out on another call. So I said, well, I'm not doing nothing. I could just go ahead and fix it for you myself, and you know, then we'll avoid the tow. And you know, anyway, until next time, if you have any comments, please post, chat, subscribe. Thanks for watching. I hope this doesn't happen to you, but if it does happen, just know with a few tools, ball joint press, pliers, some sockets, good hammer, you can fix it yourself. Of course, you're going to have jacks and stuff to lift it pretty high to get up under there to get it right. So notice I have a jack stand here. Anytime you use a jack and you got stuff lift up really high, use a jack stand for safety. You don't want that car falling down on you. But again, if you have any questions or comments, please post, chat, subscribe, and thanks for watching. Have a great day, YouTube.